Cool. Okay, let's get started. I know this is like a really intimate, hands-on, dumping my brain on you people. And thanks to Luke for asking me to do this, because I've had requests to do a similar thing of this before because people are interested in SwiftLeeds, and I always found it really hard to sort of drop knowledge, not because I don't want to, but because I just find it hard. So it took some doing. I did ask ChatGPT to help me out in some places, so apologies. It's going to be a bit of a whistle-stop tour, so I'm going to take you right from the very start, and then where we are today and what our plans are. There's a few surprises, maybe secrets, that we're going to also go through as well. So, what is SwiftLeeds? Has anyone been to SwiftLeeds? So like half. Has anyone been to all of SwiftLeeds? 1, 2, and 3. Cool. Okay. I've got another question later. So what is SwiftLeeds? So SwiftLeeds is a conference for Swift. And guess what? It's in Leeds. It wasn't going to be called SwiftLeeds, actually, but I'm not going to go through names just yet. But yeah, so what is SwiftLeeds? And this is kind of how we wrap it up in a sentence. Community conference by the community for the community. And I guess when I first started with the idea, it was always going to evolve into something around that. But I kind of needed to get it off the ground first to kind of hit that sort of statement. And just a little bit about me, I've been involved with Swift from day one. I've been an iOS engineer for more than a decade. So yeah, you can see the correlation with that. So create a true community conference. What we mean by that is I want people who attend the conference to kind of be involved in the conference, to kind of shape it. So that's why we've now got a team of 10 people to really sort of shape how it looks, what it looks, who's there speaking, everything really that's involved in a conference. Offer first-time speakers a chance on stage is a key one for me. We've had so many speakers go on stage at SwiftLeeds for the first time and then go on to become successful speakers at other big conferences. Danny Ellis springs to mind on year one. Literally someone messaged the guys at NS Spain and she was booked up because she delivered. So we really give people an opportunity if that's something they want to get involved in. We give everyone a chance, or we try to give everyone a chance to attend a conference. Again, really important to me. Conferences were a bit of a lifeline for me when I was first starting out. Meeting people and networking, it is priceless. The knowledge is good, but the actual meeting people is so much more. So we try and think a lot about that and ways of opening it up. And be modern and be inclusive. I attended so many conferences and I was just bored. It was the same lecture room, it was the same people speaking, it was just getting boring. So it's all about being vibrant, being fun, entertaining, but most of all inclusive of everyone. So the idea was born about maybe 8 or 9 years ago. Like most of my projects, it ended up in the graveyard. I just parked it. I was like, yeah, I can't do this. There's too many conferences out there. I had this vision, but I was like, I can't do it. So very much fear got the better of me. Ended up parking it. And then in 2019, there were quite a few conferences that went bust or closed in the UK, to the point where we only ended up with one. And at that point, it was very much like, it's now or never. Because if I don't do it, someone's going to do it. I had this vision. So yeah, it was very much at that point, can we get this off the ground? Ta-da! So you notice the time, 5 past 10. That's actually the timestamp for my email, so it's definitely accurate. I'm a bit of a nighttime worker, so I do a lot of work at night. Daytime, morning, I'm no good. So that's makes sense for me. 10:05, let's just do it. Let's register the domain names. I also registered quite a few others. We won't flourish and SwiftLeeds at that point, but I did snap up a few other domains as well. And then, yeah, there we go. £10.78. It costs a lot more now to renew those. Definitely felt like that at that point. You know, 10:05, you're buying the domain, but it was very much fear of what now. So we started, or I should say I started, because we at that point, madness. But I went into planning stage of thinking, how can we basically see if there's any demand out there. So it was very much like getting a landing page on there and seeing organically who would visit the page. We started getting quite a bit of traction. We got quite a few sign-ups to the landing page. There was nothing there. It was just enter your email address. So I started thinking about, how can I cost this up? How can I see what it's going to cost basically to run such a conference? So I visited over 6 venues here in Leeds. Some were hotels, Carriage Works, which is the one we ended up in. There's quite a few, but yeah, the Carriage Works sort of won it for me because it was that theatre set up. It was entertaining, fun, it was different. So that's the one I liked. I started going into financial budget planning. So the first thing that I did was think of a number, essentially. 50 was good. I thought I could maybe attract 50 people, which is quite funny to think of when I look back. But I thought 50 was a good number. If we get 50, can we financially support a conference with that many people? As it happens, we could, just about. I think the venue food was coming out at about £10,000, something like that. And I think tickets we were selling at 150, around that figure. So it could work. So I booked the Carriage Works, and at that point we had something we could essentially start pushing out there to people. Key point there is not to rely on sponsors. I think that's a really good point. So many conferences do this. They rely a lot on sponsors to kind of financially support the conference. But I think if we try and build and run a conference that's sustainable on its attendees, that's just more sustainable long term. So yeah, not to rely on those. Creating this compelling story. It's a new conference buzz. I don't know if you've seen the social media stuff that we posted out, especially in the early days. It was all about that new conference, what's coming, basically, lots of surprises. Amazing speakers, so they were all cherry-picked, which I didn't particularly enjoy doing, but I cherry-picked, I think we had 6 speakers that I knew would gain attention for the conference, because look, we need at least 50 people to come. How do we get 50 people to come? Get speakers who are going to essentially market the conference and help get those people. And then planning starts immediately from November onwards. I wanted to point this out because planning in general. So for us, when the conference ends, I literally go to the venue the day after. So everyone's finished, it's all good. I'm back at the venue, packing the van, getting all the stuff in. And then literally we have probably maybe a few weeks, a month of quiet time. And then we start reviewing survey responses, and we start looking at what is the feedback basically from that year, and then we really start going into shaping what future year the next year is going to look like. So I guess in a nutshell, planning never ends. Just a little bit on budget. I'm pretty transparent. If anyone's got questions regarding the financial side of SwiftLeeds, then by all means fire them in. There's no secrets. V1, as I said, was probably about 10 to 15k to run. So that's basically venue, food, speaker accommodation, travel. Don't remember if we have the lights. Did we have the lights? Yeah, we have the. Did we not have the lights? We didn't have the lights, did we? But anything else that we hire obviously comes at a cost. Which is, yeah, how we got up to £150 a ticket, basically. We wanted to keep ticket prices low because we wanted people to take a punt, basically, because that's what you're doing, right? If you're buying a ticket to an unknown conference, what's it going to be like? Is it going to be any good? Is it going to be worth it? We actually ended up with 100, which was quite overwhelming. So we ended up with 100 people buying a ticket. So at that point, it was like, oh, brilliant. We can perhaps invest a little bit more. We can bank some for next year, and all that kind of stuff. So, and it also gives us a lot of motivation, I guess, that this could work long term. We also ended up with paid sponsors as well. So for me, that's for the conference, it's a bonus, not literally a financial bonus, although I wish, but it's more about, we treat that as a bonus where perhaps we can get stencils made up, which can cost a little bit more, or we can get fancier t-shirts or whatever. It's like a bonus back into the conference. Keeping enough in the pot for future years, but keep on reinvesting. I don't know if some of you have been to SwiftLeeds. I hope you also see it, but we try and invest anything we've got back in, and hopefully that's evident in the swag that we give out and the food, because when I tell you how much Leeds Playhouse costs, you're going to be sweating. And yeah, don't make a profit. So this for me is really where most, if not all, conferences go wrong. Honestly, there's not really a profit in conferences, but people who set them up think there is, and they gear them up for profit, and I think that's where they make mistakes. There's no profit in SwiftLeeds. In a sense, there is profit because every year we try and keep some left over, so technically there's a profit, but when I say profit, as in I don't sit there going, what am I going to order for Christmas? Doesn't happen. The only people that are profiting are Leeds Playhouse, people who are making the swag, the photographer. You get the idea. When it comes to budget, I have endless amounts of spreadsheets. I'm a bit finny when it comes to detail, so every year I have a spreadsheet. It allows me to tweak certain things like ticket prices versus costs that the venue's going to cost us this year versus how many attendees we think we're going to get this year, what sponsors we've got. So I have all this spreadsheet all built up so I can tweak little numbers and see what we've got and where we can invest certain amounts of money. So there we have it. There's the landing page, 8th of October 2020, and the countdown began. That was the landing page. Got that from the archives. Yeah, it was a very exciting time. And then, as we all know, we were struck by lightning. So we delayed the conference by 1 year. Luckily, 98% of ticket holders kept the tickets. So a lot of people just said, look, you know, whenever you're going to host it, we'll go. It's fine. We don't need the money back, which helped. Not financially, but more to give us confidence that they're going to stick around. And we just continue to push the conference. So for me, this definitely gave us some, it gave us extra time for marketing, it gave us extra time to plan it. You could say it might be part of why we were successful, I'm not sure. It definitely helped because people were stuck at home, they wanted to get out, conferences had all closed for the foreseeable. We were adamant we were going to launch, but yeah. So yeah, it gave us more planning time. Logistically, a nightmare. I don't know, obviously no one here has ever tried running a conference with 100 people during the height of a pandemic. Do we have masks? No masks. Vaccines, sanitizer, that's just the surface of issues, visas for getting people in, nightmare. It would have been so much easier to call it quits, but I was really I just wanted to get this out there. Got a little video for you. In fact, I've got a few videos tonight, but I don't know if anyone's seen this, but we put this together. It does show images of COVID times. Also shows an image of someone getting the vaccine. So if you're a little bit, just, yeah, look away or don't watch. And we were determined. So we did it. There's some familiar faces in there. Was anyone here affected by COVID in any way? I think you all were. Everyone was affected by COVID. It was an awful time. And for me, this is kind of what kept pushing me to make it happen, because I truly believe it's really important for people. So it happened. Some just funny images of my living room, going through badges, like a few nights before. This was a swag bag with the Wonka bar in it, and we had some golden tickets in there as well, which was quite fun. We also had tree bombs as well, so people could plant the trees. And that's the joys of running a conference. Yeah, my living room, lots of swag bags, but lots of fun. One thing I mentioned before is about the hype that we build. I love videos. I love to try and get the message out there. This is massively cringy, so I might just leave. But I really wanted to show this because it just shows like the determination to try and get the message out about SwiftLeeds. Yeah, you can see we might be a little bit better at filming and stuff now. But there it is, 2021, let's go. So there was 3 of us. It was me, my wife, and my wife's sister. That's me. Sister-in-law on the checking desk, and that's it. 100 attendees, and I guess for me the biggest thing that was most important was to gather the feedback. This is almost like a test run, really. See what it was like, what issues are we going to face, can it work, and do people enjoy it? We didn't have an official photographer. My sister-in-law used some cameras she had. And I think that's probably the biggest regret I had from year 1. Otherwise, it was amazing. Kind of went smoothly. I've got a slide at the end. But yeah, it went well. Building hype is something I try really hard to do. Conferences have this problem where we have 2 days in October. I think it goes really quiet. And then that's it then. Everyone forgets, everyone goes to the day job, or they're going to another conference or something like that. Forget about SwiftLeeds until August. And they're like, we heard SwiftLeeds is on again. And that's because we don't really have much to share, so to speak. But we find stuff to share, like we drip feed speakers. So we don't just go, here's 28 speakers that we're doing. Like most conferences, we drip feed them over several weeks to try and get people excited. Lots of videos, so we do like little snap videos of the venue and stuff. And here's a few things that we've done over the past. So like the drop-in sessions last year that we launched, the question marks about the different hosts that we've got to try and get people excited. Annabelle Trami there launched, that was not last year, year before, I think, yeah. And then we've got the 2 days, so moving to 2-day conferences. We've got really good feeling on that, 200 likes. I think that was a little moving Giphy that we did, because people were just interested about what's moving. So yeah, we're just trying to be a little bit creative. I guess, we want to attract as many people as possible. So yeah, building hype, I think, is important. Moving through onto year 2, definitely a pivotal year for us. This was all about learning from year 1 and how can we, I guess, kind of establish ourselves into a more professional conference, covering all aspects that we didn't cover before. So we outgrew the venue. Carriage Works was just far too small for us almost immediately. So we started looking for venues, and we found the Leeds Playhouse. We got the SwiftLeeds team together, although some of them are no longer with us, as in they're still alive, but just not part of the team. So the people have changed over the thing because we're all volunteers. Like I said, we don't make a profit, so there's no kind of expectation about the level of work they'll give. But it's really hard managing a team with that expectation. It's more difficult than paying someone, but it's working. We've upgraded the website along with some new artwork. The first version of the website was WordPress because that was the easiest thing to get up and running. But it's now built in Swift, of course. We created a unique stencil for developers, really cool this. So we went to a company in Leeds, Duke Make, and they actually laser printed each one and put all the different parts out. And just really creating unique pieces like that was really important. And then we introduced Sessionize, which was the anonymous speaker, so that I want picking speakers and ultimately our team votes on the talk, title and description anonymously, rather than going, oh, I like that person, I want them to speak. It's completely anonymized. Works really well. And I think that's why we end up with new speakers and more diverse speakers as well. So it's really good. So it's definitely a pivotal year. You'll notice we've got a professional videographer, photographer now. And then we move on to 2023, which was all about just building up the groundwork really from that year. So 2022 is definitely pivotal for us. We've got a lot of solid base for growing and just tweaking little things, perfecting little things. So we stabilised the team a little bit more. We built the better iOS app along with a custom check-in app as well for checking people in. That was one of the biggest feedbacks we got. I don't know if anyone remember the long queue we had. Yeah, it's things like that you're just never going to know unless you try it, and then you're like, this don't work. We need to improve this. We changed, we moved the swag out of the way. So rather than giving swag out, it was like just go self-serve. If people get two items that they shouldn't have, then that's probably fine. Like people will do the right thing, and that helps us just get people in basically and get a meeting because that was very stressful. More stressful for Matt, I think. Then iterating on the website with his own API as well. So we've got his own API to power a lot of this stuff. And then we introduced the concept of drop-in sessions. I like being different. I had so many people saying to me, you should be introducing workshops into a conference, but why? Everyone's doing that. I don't want to do what everyone else is doing. So it just came to me, this idea. I think I pinged James. I was like, this idea of drop-in sessions where people can go in and get hands-on experience or hands-on knowledge from someone in that field for free, and you can just book in and drop in. So we created this concept and it was brilliant. People really, really resonated with it. And again, it's something we'll keep iterating on. We do SwiftLeeds live, thanks James. So actually live streaming properly. Again, lots of people saying you should be going online, you should be hybrid and all this, and trying to force us into a way. I wasn't prepared to do this unless we made it amazing. I just didn't think it'd be good if we just uploaded something and it's like, yeah, there's your online stream. So we had to find the right time, felt like the right time, and I think we did a good job. I think the people that were online really enjoyed it. That meant we also needed to build out SwiftLeeds on YouTube. I think we're on like 1,500 subscribers, something like that. We grew from like 200 subs over to 1,000, yeah, because the content is so good and so rich. So we'll keep doing that. And then the final point there of just listening to people, like some of the feedback we get. I mean, some people would say, oh, it's too hot, it's too cold, It's the stuff that you're just always going to get, like in an office environment. But there's certain things that people just give you, and you're like, yeah, we need to fix that, or we need to tweak that, we need to change that. So people give really good feedback. And here it is. So this was last year. So this is all about becoming a stamp, is kind of what I call it. I have loads of people coming to me saying, oh, have you seen that conference over there? They're doing the same as what you did last year. or they'll say, oh, they've got a similar idea that you did. And honestly, amazing. I think if we can motivate others to do something that we're doing, then that's brilliant, right? Because it's serving the purpose of the people that are going. So we want to motivate other conferences to kind of follow suit and just be a little bit more fun, be a little bit more different, be open to new speakers, you know, all this kind of stuff. Be bold and you know, innovate in the ideas. Don't get bored. You know, like I was saying, I've attended so many conferences and it's like they don't really want to be there. I mean, get it, it's hard work, but you know, people are paying. They want a really good time. Never look at others. Always stay focused. Don't get me wrong. I obviously see other conferences, but I don't focus on that. I have really good idea of SwiftLeeds and what it could become and what it looks like. And so yeah, we don't look, just stay focused. So 2024, there's no video yet because, well, we're not there yet. But SwiftLeeds drop-in session V2 is coming. SwiftLeeds live and/or something else. There might be something else coming. Maybe. And it might not be on the 2D. I can't say anymore. We have our biggest announcement in the works, and I think no other conference has ever done this, ever, in the history of conferences. It's massive, isn't it? But as far as I know, I think conferences have kind of done this, but not in the way that we're doing it. And in the way that we're doing it is very special. And it's a very large fruit company. It's orange. Yeah, it's not orange. And this is going to change a lot. So it's been a little bit up in the air this year because it's, but we're basically there with it. So yeah, we're close. Keep on growing in numbers. I think likely close to 400. We sold out the fastest super early bird and early bird that we've ever had. I think it was 8 days. Before we sold out. This year was free, right?
3 hours.
3 hours.
Yeah, it was 8 days last year, 3 hours.
Yeah. So yeah, it was actually locking people out to buying them. Good problem to have, but yeah. I think we're probably likely to get close to 400. And then we've kicked off theming. So I had this idea last year when you saw the laser beam effect. That was kind of a theme. Maybe not very good. But this year we're going full-on Olympic mode, given the Paris Olympics is happening this year. And we think this is really fun for conferences to do. So we're going to have a different theme every year. Where we just brand the whole conference in it, and then on the day of the conference we're going to have some real fun, like some ideas of having like a Swift relay competitions going on where people code in, or we might have some, I don't know, I don't want to let too much go on, but the idea is that we're going to launch themes like this nature every year to keep it really fun and engaging, and this year is the SwiftLeeds Olympics, which I'm not a designer, so I can't take any credit for that. We do have a designer, thankfully, now anyway. Right, so I'm going to start coming close to a finish, but I wanted to, you know, we've kind of gone over the history there of say 4 years, and a lot of things happened during that time, good, bad, the ugly. And I thought I'd sort of summarise a few of those. Like the first conference, caterers were sent home 1 hour before the start. In fact, people had already started arriving, and the project manager at the carriage work said, you can't have outside catering, we've sent them home. I said, excuse me? So literally the caterer had packed all his stuff in the van. He'd gone, and obviously people arriving ready for breakfast, and the venue for whatever reason insisted we couldn't have outside catering, even though it was agreed. So obviously you can imagine what I looked like at that point. So I was straight on the phone and managed to get them back, and yeah, it was. Luckily, we sort of pulled it out of the bag, but yeah, they literally just went, no, can't have it. See you later. Off you go. Thank you very much. Merchandise company. This was an interesting one. So in the second year, the company went bust 2 months before. So we had this vision of going with a company that could supply everything. So we just say we want stickers, badges, just make it for us to make our lives easier. And we found awesome merch, and they seemed really good on the outside, and we met them. They were in Leeds and blah blah blah. They had a really good facility where they made everything, and we'd agreed some stuff. Luckily, not paid anything, and then they just went quiet. Like they weren't responding to emails, weren't really sure what was going on. And then they emailed me 2 months before saying, yeah, we're going bust, basically. So we're not going to provide anything. I was like, okay. It was like Amazon, can I order 200 pencils and stuff like that. And then, yeah, it was all over the papers in September. That was in September, that article. It was a big thing, actually, because they had investment. I think they were like a local, I think people had actually invested in the company locally, so there's a huge uproar about it. But anyway, we managed to get a few bits, and that's why some items, the quality is not great, because we had to last minute buy stuff in. It's a bit of a nightmare. Rocky economy in 2023. It was tough time, really. Lots of sponsors pulled out. Even ticket sales were good, but not amazing. So it was definitely looking like we're going to have to sort of scale everything back a little bit. But then, yeah, last minute, it just goes boom. We got a couple of sponsors. It's like, oh, okay, fine, we're cool. And that's the joys of running a conference. I think it's like 60% of our ticket sales is 2 months before, because software developers are just not the most organised of people. And they go, oh, you're going to SwiftLeeds? Oh, I haven't booked my ticket. I'll have a look. And they book it in last week of September. So our ticket sales go like that, literally a month before, which is really good for planning, you know, because then I know exactly how much money we've got to pay stuff, and it's brilliant. But now I have graphs, so I can see trends. So literally I can show you after, but our ticket sales sort of goes like that, and then down, and then like that, and then literally like that, and then back down again. So it's like, and I can map that pretty much for every year. It's pretty good. And then I can see how much growth we've got. Completely underestimated the amount of work involved. I mean, it's full on. I mean, literally full on. You know, if you think about it, each sponsor requires for onboarding, they need to know logistically where does stuff get delivered, what time can they arrive. That's just one thing. Then you've got 17 speakers who all need accommodation, travel, visas. You've got attendees who need help with support via email, but they also need visas sometimes, invite letters, and that's just one section of it. Then you've got everything else that is required. So we kind of properly rely on the venue doing everything right for us, which just doesn't happen, you know. Like, you've dealt with companies before, working with a venue is no different. You know, you get passed around to people. Some people leave and just ditch the company, and they've got all the knowledge, so we've got to give them it all again. That happened. So, and that requires going to the venue, going through it. It's just it never ends, right? Never ends. Overwhelming feeling hosting that many people. I never thought it would be like this. But when I arrive at SwiftLeeds and there's people walking past me, or someone buys a ticket and I don't recognise the name, I get overwhelmed by it, because I think, how have they found out about SwiftLeeds? And it's this like almost like overwhelming feeling that there's people outside of my circle that know about this conference, even to this day. And last year we had 300 people doing that. But it's really overwhelming to have that many people want to come to the conference that you've helped shape. I think that's part of it that helps sort of motivate it to keep doing it. And then people getting opportunities. I can't remember, there's one lad in year 1 or 2, he got a job. He was looking for ages for an iOS job. He managed to get one at SwiftLeeds. We've had so many stories of people landing jobs. The first iOS job. We've had people getting the visas, like there were stories there. There's just so much good that comes from it. So much good story that comes from it. And I think, oh, actually I wanted to make a point, because here I am at Leeds Mobile. We get a lot of companies, groups, individuals approach us to be our partner or partnership. And I always feel really kind of guilty in a sense, because like this meetup, for example, is amazing. You know, it's bringing people together regular. It's basically what we're doing. But we have, or certainly I have, very strong values about what we do at SwiftLeeds and how we do it in terms of representing everyone and stuff like that. And unfortunately, some conferences don't abide by those rules, or they don't run a conference like that. So I guess I'm very careful about who we associate with, not because I don't want to help them or promote them, it's because I don't want to promote people that, or conferences that are not doing what we're doing, or in a similar way. And I kind of wanted to make that point because here I am at Leeds Mobile, but I'm trying to think of ways we can help support other community groups and conferences, because I obviously want to help, right? That's why I'm here. But I also don't want to be attached to a conference that might do something that we wouldn't do. And there's a lot out there, unfortunately. So I like to make that point, and that brings me to a almost on the dot, perfect timing finish. It's almost like I've rehearsed. I haven't. I never rehearse talks because I'm terrible. This was completely off the cuff. There's probably about 10 lines in my presenter notes. So yeah, thank you.